You mean Mrs. Woods with the golf club?
No, I'm thinking, how about somebody who's a pedophile that was beat as a child, and he had a bad upbringing, and he had no parents, and he was in foster homes, and all these other reasons that somebody would propagate that that's why. How does that lessen what they did to the victim?
I'm not saying that I'm not saying that people who have abusive don't deserve to be punished. I do think that they have to take responsibility. What I'm saying is, as a society, shouldn't we be focusing on how to help people, how to prevent these kinds of things from happening in the first place, or how to help people that have had these things happen to them, as opposed to focusing on keeping everybody in jail for their whole lives, and keeping them away from us.
Kathy, that's a good point. To what do you do with them? I think the point there is we've given up as a society on rehabilitation of any of these kind of people. We just want to put them away for a amount of time or whatever. If somebody is a pedophile and they continue to exhibit pedophile-type traits, they should not, whatever institution they're in, until you can guarantee they do not demonstrate any of those traits again. Unfortunately, that's not the way we do it.
I don't think that capitalism makes putting funding towards things that help people a priority.
What do you think, John?
Well, yeah, you're right, Kath. I'd go along with that, and I think maybe we can use that to segue to the another question. Whereas there's certain things, like Kathy, you're saying capitalism, and without us getting into a big fight like you, me, and Jay did that time, not just capitalism, but the allocation of resources is what it is. And in our society, the allocation of resources often goes to those who are the most powerful, let's say, or able to make their point known best, etc. One of the big things is because right now we have a number of these. Down in New York City, you know, you have new Citi Field for the Mets, and you have the new Yankee Stadium. And in New Jersey, aren't you building a new Giant Stadium or something? And this is hundreds of millions of dollars. And this is a two-part...
John, it's in the billions.
Right, you're right. Because a lot of the stuff are hidden costs. Because you're right, the stadium, Yankee Stadium, probably cost, I don't know, $1 billion or something. But they also got the New York City to spend hundreds of millions on infrastructure improvements. But the question is twofold. Is that is the money that the public spends on these, let's start at the very top, you know, the big stadiums like, you know, Yankee Stadium, Giant Stadium, and then you go to Heinz Field in tiny little Pittsburgh, versus is that worth it at all? And can that money basically do much better towards other means, like, you know, homeless shelters and battered women's shelters, etc., etc. So, what do you think? You want to take the first shot, Kath?
I don't know how much public funds is used for things like stadiums, but even if not $1 of public funds was used towards building a new stadium for the Mets and a new stadium for the Yankees and a new stadium for the Giants and Jets, right? Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's too much money. I think that if somebody is putting up billions of dollars to build new stadiums where there were perfectly good stadiums to begin with, that place was scary. That money could be donated to any number of people that need it. How is it okay that there are homeless people eating out of garbage cans in New York City, and there are billions of dollars being spent on a place for the Yankees to play?
Okay. Yeah, you're right, Kath. And the thing is like I was saying, let's say Yankee Stadium. Directly, I don't think any public money was used, but they were able to buy some extremely low interest bonds or zero interest bonds to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. And in fact, a dozen or more New York City assessors, I don't know if they lost their job, but they got investigated and such because the land that New Yankee Stadium sits on used to be assessed for, let's say, $10 million, but that wasn't enough value in order to take out the bonds needed for the Yankees. So all of a sudden, the assessed value went up to $200 or $300 million. So they're able to take out those bonds. And when you sell those, when you give an entity like Yankee Stadium hundreds of millions of dollars in low interest bonds, that costs somebody, and that's maybe not you and I, but it definitely costs the taxpayers in New York City. Plus, like I said earlier, New York City may not pay for the stadium itself, but they'll pay for a new off ramp. They'll pay for a new park. They'll pay for a new maybe parking garage or something like that.
Well, John.
Yeah.
You know what? I think your point of how the city of New York, let's say in Yankee Stadium example, is not really paid. Well, that's not really true because they're actually giving them interest-free money to build it, guaranteeing the money, interest-free money to build it. So with time value of money, they're giving them $1 billion today. Over the next 30 years to get it back.
Oh yeah, I'm saying yes, they are giving them money, but it's kind of bringing it around the corner. They truly are giving them the money, but they're claiming they're not. And
also in there, John, they have all the tax incentives where they don't have to pay taxes on the property, which is loss in tax revenue. It's a huge cost. There's a book written called Free Lunch, and it goes on all the big companies out there in the world that basically, if it weren't for the government buying their stores, giving them free tax breaks, building their stadiums, that literally these would be nonprofit businesses. And these are huge businesses. I dare not mention some names because, holy cow, it could really hurt a lot of people's feelings. But you know what? You need to know where the money's coming from to build your nearest, let's say Cabela's or Bass Pro Shops or stadiums or whatever, because that money's actually coming out of your and my pocket.
Yep.
And you sit back and you say, wouldn't that money be better off being used for creation of jobs, not building of the stadium, but creation of real jobs? These are all big, huge money items. And nobody gets a benefit from them other than the people that go to the games. But if you ever gone to a professional game at Yankee Stadium, Giant Stadium, any of the stadiums, a soda, $7.
I know.
A beer, $7. That's without the tip that the guy that brings you the beer. The concession stands, $6 for a hot dog, a 20-cent hot dog.
Oh, Bill, by the way, they don't tip at Yankee Stadium, I know you're down there in Nashville, and we tip the old guy that brings us our beer, but
just to add, it's $90 for a pizza
at Yankee Stadium.
I'm a huge Yankee fan, but I have no desire to ever go to new Yankee Stadium. I went to Fenway this year. Dude, I'm a huge Yankee fan. I'm no Red Sox fan, but what a gorgeous stadium. And it's 90 years old, and it still looks 90, and it's still gorgeous. Still the best place to go.
Isn't Gillette Stadium? That's in Boston, right? Gillette.
Yeah.
Isn't that's privately owned?